C?
I'm a woman living with hepatitis C. I think I've probably had it over 40 years. I was sharing needles, and it's been about 40 years. I could even have had it longer. I'm a woman in recovery, and I have long-term recovery. I'll be clean 38 years in March. And, you know, about 15 years ago, I started having friends who were in recovery that were dying from liver failure. And, you know, I knew I was fine. I had no symptoms. And anyway, I decided to go get some blood work done to see if I had Hep C. And lo and behold, I did. It was a big shock to me. And like that. I'm very proactive with my physical health. So I right away got a biopsy and started having my blood work done and followed protocols that were being put out, like ultrasounds every 6 months and blood work 2 or 3 times a year. And I did a couple of viral loads. My first viral load, it was like in the millions, and it was before there was a lot known on hepatitis C, and I thought I was dying, and a couple of people told me I was probably dying because I had millions of viral load. And so I was preparing. My last biopsy was about 6 months ago, and my liver biopsy showed that my liver is normal, which it was years ago. And the doctor said I'm very lucky, and I think part of it is because I am in recovery. I don't use drugs or alcohol. I exercise and try to eat healthy, and I'm very grateful that my liver is good, but I still follow protocol, ultrasounds every 6 months and regular checkups. My husband has hepatitis C, and he also has had regular doctor visits, ultrasounds every 6 months, biopsies every 2 years, and and he's been in fibrosis for a long time, early fibrosis, and the doctor's given him feedback that, you know, he doesn't need to worry. The progression of the disease is very slow. And then about 9 months ago, we got a call in the evening, and it was my husband's doctor, and she told him she was so sorry, and she really didn't know how it happened, but based on his blood work and what they were seeing, it looked like he was in cirrhosis. His platelets all of a sudden were going down, and he was in shock. We were both in shock, you know. The new medication which came out, I believe, in the end of May, to wait for that because we both have the hardest to treat, the genotype 1. And so the doctor told him he would get the most bang for his buck. So as soon as that medication came out, my husband went on that medication together. And when he found out that I had a normal liver and he needed to treat, he got mad at me. And actually a little sarcastic, instead of being happy for me, he was upset, like he was alone. So he was scared to death, and so was I. We weren't sure what to expect. My husband's a big man, 6'2". He's what you'd call a bit on the assertive side, a manly man. And some of my friends had told me when they were on the medications, their emotions were all over the place, and there was a lot of anger, and he's already kind of grumpy. So he started out pretty good. When he started on the new medication, he really started getting sick. And the body, a lot of stuff started changing in his body, and he started looking like a sick person. And now it's been almost 6 months, and he's lost about 20 pounds. And he is a big muscular man. He's lost a lot of muscle. And he gets a lot of rashes all over his body. Sometimes his whole body, he says, it feels like it's burning and it's red. He goes to work every single day. I don't think that he's missed one day from work because he's been sick. But as soon as he comes home, he collapses on the couch. We don't do much. You know, sometimes I know I'm a bit insensitive and go out a lot because, you know, I get bored sitting at home, and it's hard being with somebody who's sick and being compassionate and empathetic all the time. And then some nights I lay in bed, and as soon as all of a sudden when he walks out, there's like this darkness in the bedroom, and you know, it's almost like this heavy feeling of fear of you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, tonight. There's this loneliness of what if he doesn't make it through it because of the side effects. Honestly, he looks sicker than I've ever seen him. His white blood cells are out of control, his platelets are lower, and you know, I know this stuff is really toxic, and it's really scary for him, and it's really scary for me. But I go into denial a lot, or I just stay busy, you know, and I think sometimes I'm a bit insensitive to his fears. But, you know, one day at a time. But it scares me because I don't know what to expect. Sometimes we would be sleeping at night, and all of a sudden he'd be making these terrible noises in his sleep. And then I might move, and all of a sudden he'd start screaming at me, and then I started reading about some of the side effects which talk about suicide, but I was thinking homicide, and started getting scared. And we actually now figured out that it's better that he sleep in the other bedroom at night. So we don't share the same bed anymore, which is better because he gets a better night's sleep without me moving. And I don't worry. In some ways, the relationship is very challenging now. I mean, we already had our issues. We've been married like 32 years, and you know, there's always issues in marriage. But you know, in other ways, it's actually brought us closer together because, you know, when you love somebody, you know you love somebody, and people don't, like I used to have proof you love me by your behavior and actions. And there's a knowing that happens after you're with somebody for a long time. And actually, through this whole process, there's a deeper knowing of a oneness of love. And so, you know, so in some ways, it has brought us closer together. My husband talks about quitting the drug a lot, all the time. And you know what? Honestly, I kind of wish he would quit the drug because I'm getting a little scared at what I'm seeing. And even the other day I touched his shoulder. I don't touch him as much because he's very sensitive to touch. His body, it itches all the time and it's like burning. But I touched his shoulder the other day, and it was shocking because he is a muscular man, and it was like touching my mother's shoulder when she was 91. It was bone, and you know, when he lifts his arm, it's old skin because the muscle's gone. And so, you know, I mean, you know, the interesting thing is I don't care though. I love his body just as much as I always have. And the only thing he says is that I'm not compassionate. And I said, tell me what I said, I'm going to film and talk about you tomorrow. He said, well, you know, tell him how uncaring you are. And I said, well, tell me what I need to do to be more caring. He said, you need to rub my feet more with cream. So I told him, forget it. And, but I would tell my husband's healthcare provider is wonderful. He's just a very caring, empathetic man. And as soon as we both went to him, there was such a trust. And, you know, I guess what I would want somebody to know is thank God for you guys, because we really need competent people to help us walk through this. Thank you. And you know, thank you.